Yeah, and we are live here on Star Trek Sunday. Oh my goodness, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been far too long. Hello, Captain Quinn. Good to see you here. I'm Stu Jackson.
And I'm Keira Joyson.
Yay! How are you doing, Keira?
I'm really good, thanks, Stu. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You asked me that question before we started, and I never really answered you properly. I'm fighting an ME migraine today, but I am winning at the moment.
Good.
Codeine, heavy doses of codeine,
Which
love
might
codeine. Make me fall. Anyway,
don't leave me.
If I drop off, yeah, of course you can't control the stream at all, can you?
No, I'll just be prancing around like an idiot trying to entertain the masses till you wake up. Nobody wants that, by the way. Nobody wants that.
You do a lot of that already with your TikToks, though.
Yeah. So I need to conserve energy.
Your TikToks. No, you can just replicate what you do on your TikToks. I keep people going for hours. Hours, yes, indeed. Anyway, yeah, how are you?
Good. I literally just got back from the gym and rushed to get ready. So through this is just a jumper that I could just throw on. So that's why I'm a
Is it
female.
A jumper?
Card. Yeah.
It looks like a proper uniform.
I mean, it is a proper uniform, but it's like just a jumper. Like that's the bottom of it.
Okay. Oh, you mean like a top? You just.
Yeah. So it's not a jumpsuit like the rest of them.
No. I think jumpers. I think like woolly.
Oh, like a sweatshirt then.
A sweater. Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like a sweater.
We've digressed already. Hey.
Oh God!
Oh, that's hot. But you're absolutely rocking the old TNG look today.
You unfortunately don't have a bald cap yet, so can't actually become Picard. But you can imagine if I do this.
You can
Bald
indeed.
Keira.
Well, I was thinking you were rocking more of a sort of like a Data-esque, like a female Data hairstyle.
You know what? I would love to do a female Data cosplay. Maybe I should get the gold version of this, and then I can do that.
Well, he did wear red. It wasn't unheard of for Data to wear red.
Oh, actually, he did, didn't he?
There were a couple of times, yeah. Yeah, he did indeed. Yeah. Anyway, gosh, we've got an exciting episode. We always have an exciting episode, but it's been 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Life has been busy.
It really is. Hello, Random Gotham. Good morning from the Alpha Quadrant, indeed. Yeah, so how's your course going? That's what I want to know.
Well. So the first week of my degree was all online, and it was all like an induction week. And do you know what they did? And it really bugged me and all the other midwifery students, is they lumped us in with all of the nursing students. So midwifery and nursing are very different. And so they've got like a bunch of different nursing courses. They've got pediatric nursing, adult nursing, mental health nursing. So there was about 370 people on this online, like a Zoom meeting. So all of the information they were giving out was pretty much mostly only relevant to the nurses. And me and the rest of my midwives in our little cohort of 45 people were just sat there all day like, what is the point in us being here? So the first week was like basically useless. The second week was a bit better. We've started doing some actual midwifery specific lessons now, but I think the best is yet to come for sure. It's just been a lot of reading, a lot of going over the rules and regulations and boring stuff. I want interesting things now.
Is there a strong sort of veterinarian side to things? Like how to feed a stork properly and what to do if it hurts its wing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've covered all of that. Don't you worry. We will be looking after the storks to the best of our ability.
Excellent. Very, very glad to hear. Rick has said it's got us projected on his wall today. View screen quality viewing.
Oh God, don't zoom in on my face, please.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. So yes, let's talk about today's episode, shall we? I'm very, very excited.
What are we doing today?
We are going to be reviewing one of my favourite original series episodes, The Conscience of the King.
How did I know this was going to be one of your favourites?
They're all my favourites, except for Threshold.
Which is my favourite. Oh dear. Then we'll be doing a deep dive into the technology of Starfleet Communicators.
Mm-hmm. We will be paying a visit to the Divine Treasury, and it might contain a bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming in season 2 of the Star Trek Adventures stream as well.
And then we shall be finishing off with the latest Star Trek news.
Yes, indeed, as always. So, let's crack straight in with The Conscience of the King, the original series episode that first aired on the 8th of December, 1966. It's before I was born, Keira.
It's before my mum was born.
Oh, God. You can't let me have one.
Although it was after my dad was born, so there you go.
Okay, that helps a little.
I think my dad was born in 52.
Wow. Okay, so he was quite mature when he had you then. Not that he had you, so your mum had you. Well, the stork did anyway.
There's a massive age gap between my parents. So my mum was 18 when they met and my dad was 36.
Right, okay.
So he's quite a bit older than my mum. And older than you, so there you go. Make you feel young today.
He's older than me. Thank you very much. I will definitely take that one. This, coming back to our episode then, The Conscience of the King was the 12th episode of season 1. I forget it was season 1 because it's so good and so established, but yeah, it was season 1.
Yes, and in this episode the Enterprise is summoned to a planet by an old friend of Captain Kirk, one Dr. Thomas Layton. They arrive to find that they have been summoned under false pretenses. Dr. Layton believes that the head of a touring company of Shakespearean actors, Anton Caridian, is in fact Kodos the Executioner, who killed over 4,000 people as governor of Tarsus IV. Kirk and Layton are 2 of only 9 survivors who actually met Kodos. Kirk finds no resemblance, but as he looks into the case, he finds that Caridian has no history prior to Kodos' supposed death. Caridian rather dramatically, although perhaps not for an actor, declines to confirm nor deny anything when questioned directly by Kirk, but is aware of the details of what happened on Tarsus IV. A complication is Kirk's attraction to Caridian's beautiful daughter Lenore, an actor in the troupe. Layton is found murdered, leaving Kirk and Kevin Riley, who almost dies of poisoning, as the only surviving witnesses, making the captain the next potential victim.
So, question I always ask of you when it's like an original series: had you seen it before?
I mean, I haven't remembered watching it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it with my dad when I was really little. But it felt like it was the first time watching it, and oh my God, this was definitely written by a thespian.
Yep.
Absolutely, nobody can tell me otherwise. Whoever wrote this was like wanted to be in the theatre but ended up writing for TV by accident. That's what I feel like this episode was.
Well, there was a lot of crossover back then. Theatre acting and screen acting were very, very similar things because the resolution of cameras was so small, because TV screens were very small.
Yeah.
Performances had to be big and dramatic like they are on stage for TV. I mean, it's TV acting that's evolved since then, obviously, as you and I particularly know. Subtlety's everything, but back then, of course, it wasn't. Makeup was like over the top as a result, and things like that. So yeah, but yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from there. Certainly, someone with a love of Shakespeare.
Though. Oh my god, I love Shakespeare, but this might have been a bit much for me. The Nor constantly referring to and quoting from Shakespeare outside of the theatre, and oh my god. She was just very over the top, and I don't know if I want to blame the actor for that or the director for that episode, but she was just on another level. Like, it was too much for me. And oh my god, when Kirk was questioning Caridian and he was like, "I am tired." Yeah. I lost my shit. I had to pause it for a bit and then come back to it because I was laughing so much.
I totally get what you, but that comes back to what I was, it was designed to be watched on a screen this big, and but yeah, watching it, this is why I've got very mixed feelings about the whole remastering of stuff, because it's not what it was designed for. It's not what it was shot for in the first place, and all this sort of digital remaster, it highlights flaws massively. Even if you don't do that, just the nature of watching it. I remember the last time I watched my favourite Deep Space Nine episode, and when Sisko is pushing the guy who designs the holodeck program up against the wall, the back of his prosthetic head caves in because it's only rubber. Now, on my big sort of 50+ inch screen plasma TV, I can see that's obvious, but on the original TV I watched it on, it wasn't. So it's that kind of and digitally remastering is only going to make that worse unless they start fixing things, and then it just ends up all being CGI, and I don't want that either.
Just leave things how they were meant to be.
Yeah, mostly, to an extent. There's exceptions. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. But that's a whole other thing.
Oh, dear.
Did you do your bingo?
I did. I did not get very many this week.
What score did you get?
Let me just get the page up. Where have I put it? Yeah. I got 4. Rubbish.
I also got 4.
And you know what I didn't get this week? I didn't get Technobabble.
Neither did I.
I think this might be the only episode that doesn't have Technobabble in it.
Could possibly be. Okay, interesting. So it sounds like we've got the same things, possibly then. But before we do it, do you want to tell everyone about their chance to win a T-shirt? Yes. The T-shirts that still do not yet exist, but will very soon. So if you play along with Star Trek Sunday's bingo and find an episode which scores you, is it 85 points or more? 65 is what we're looking for. 85 is the maximum possible point.
Okay. So 65 to 85 points, and send us in your bingo sheet with the timestamps that each square can be checked during the episode. Then the first person to do that will win one of our Star Trek Sundays exclusive bingo T-shirts. So to do that, just contact either me or Stu on Twitter, or is there any other way of contacting us? I don't have another
Discord.
way.
We have a Discord channel. The links are below.
Yeah, contact us. Send us in your bingo sheet with timestamps and tell us, obviously, which episode it is so we can verify it. and then you will win a t-shirt. I haven't
indeed.
come across an episode yet that has 65 or more points.
Well, Captain Quinn did say he thought he'd found one, but we're waiting on the sheet. So send that in to us, Captain Quinn. Very, very keen to check that out. Haven't gone back and... Captain Quinn did tell us the episode. I'm not going to repeat it here because, other people might then gazump and we don't want that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I must admit, I haven't gone back and watched that episode myself. So yeah. Oh, you can't find the bingo card. I did link you on Discord. I'll send you. I'll link again on the Discord after the show, so you can go back and have a look at that. So with our bingo sheets, then top row. How many did you get on the top row?
One.
I also got one.
Was it
Slap
red
bang in
alert?
the middle. Red alert. Yes.
But this was a double red alert.
It was a double red alert, but it's still a red alert.
Does it count as 2 points?
I think you're hoping there. On the second row, I also got one.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
we
didn't
got
get one.
differences.
Yeah,
Intriguing. Conference room conversation.
Oh, I didn't think they were in a conference room at any point.
Kirk is looking up the details of the Caridian players on a monitor, and Spock comes in and talks to him. And I'm counting that as a conference room.
I thought that was Kirk's ready room, but...
Oh, you might be right. Yes.
I'm not sure.
You might well be right. Interesting. So does that mean you didn't get anything on the second row then?
Nothing on second row.
Okay. How many did you get on the third row?
One.
I also got one, so that's going to be aliens almost exactly like humans.
Yeah, that's the one.
Because it's Spock. Did you get anything on the fourth row then?
Yes, I did. I put aliens exactly like humans, but this was a dubious one because I wasn't sure if all of the players, like Caridian and that, I wasn't sure if they were meant to be aliens or humans. It was never really specified.
No, it was a human colony.
Okay, all right. I just clearly wasn't listening properly then.
Yeah. Okay, not to worry. Well, you can have conference room conversation. There you go.
I'm not going to cheat, don't worry. Okay, and then on the last line, the
one we always get,
yes,
over-explanation.
Steadfast left-hand corner. Yeah, over-explanation. They can't stop themselves doing it, can they? It just happens.
Indeed. Rick, your chat messages aren't coming through. Well, this one did. So, okay. All right. Rick's having problems, I think, with his chat. But yeah, I mean, I love this episode.
I just realised I never changed my background. I've got Voyager background and I'm wearing a Next Generation costume. How did I miss that?
It could be world-ending consequences to, do we really want a Voyager TNG crossover?
No, we don't want that. Absolutely
You're adjusting
not.
your background now.
I know. I'm find something more appropriate. I can't not look at it now, and it's making me feel uneasy.
Not to worry.
Carry on without me for a second.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, I liked this episode. You ready yet? Now, one thing I did wonder. Obviously, his daughter's called Lenore. I wondered if that was a reference to Edgar Allan Poe. Because, of course, in The Raven, the protagonist's lost love who died was Lenore.
Oh, well, maybe. It just makes me think about the washing detergent. Laundry.
That's Lenore without an E.
It sounds the same.
It does. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously you're familiar with the Raven.
No, not really.
And not just the ship that Annika Hansen was on. Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. You like your gothic horror stuff, don't you?
I know who Edgar Allan Poe is, but I've never actually read any of his work.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll have to link you up afterwards. I'm not going to start reciting it here and now because of reasons. But yeah, it's really good, and I can recommend it.
Okay, all right, I'll give it a read then.
Okay, but Rick agreed with you. Lenore made him think of the fabric softener.
Yes.
So there we go. Right, shall we do some trivia about this episode then?
Yes.
So Barbara Anderson, we're talking about Lenore. There we are. Barbara Anderson developed a fever blister, a sort of cold sore thing on her lip during filming, and they partially used makeup to disguise it. And she was often filmed as a result with part of her lower face in shadow.
You know what? I noticed that, but I thought it was a mole.
Okay, I never noticed the actual blister.
I noticed it in the scenes near the end where she's going a bit crazy and quoting Shakespeare and stuff. Anyway, it didn't look that bad, to be honest. In the original draft, the character whose parents had been murdered by Kodos was named Lieutenant Robert Dakin, but when Bruce Hyde was cast in the role, the staff realised that the same actor had already played a character named Kevin Riley in the episode The Naked Time, so the character was renamed accordingly for the sake of consistency.
Old Riley with his Irish accent that's over the top.
Props to them for actually picking up on some continuity there, because often they just wouldn't have bloody bothered. So
there are inconsistencies resulting from that sort of thing. So the script itself began with a view on the city of the city on Planet Q, with a poster advertising the Caridian Company of Players superimposed over it. That then dissolves into the performance of Macbeth. However, director Gerd Oswald decided that this lead-up was unnecessary and chose the more gripping opening of Macbeth's dagger shown close up. That's a good choice.
When Kirk goes to the Leighton dinner party and comes out to meet Lenore, you can hear a very slow jazz version of the series theme tune. This is the first time it has been played as source music. The other times this occurs in the original series is later in the episode, where Kirk is speaking to Lenore in Caridian's cabin, when Ariel Shaw enters the bar in court-martial, and when Kirk, McCoy and Tonya Burrows run to Sulu's position in Shawley.
Kodos gives his name to one of the two cyclopic alien squids who repeatedly plague the Simpsons in their Halloween specials. The other, of course, is Kang, who takes his name from the Klingon in Day of the Dove.
I never made that connection before. That's really funny. Kodos and Kang. Yeah. This episode is the favourite TOS episode of Ronald D. Moore, writer of numerous Next Gen and Deep Space Nine episodes.
Because he got tasty. This episode contains Star Trek's first direct reference to eugenics, although there's an oblique reference in What a Little Girl's Made Of. Spock, in this episode, tells McCoy that Kodos applied his own theories of eugenics when sentencing certain colonists to death, causing McCoy to note that Kodos, unfortunately, wasn't the first. 2 seasons later, the concept of eugenics resurfaced prominently in Plato's Stepchildren, when Philana informs Spock that the Platonians are the result of a successful mass eugenics program.
A line scripted but cut from the episode established that Kirk was a midshipman fresh out of the academy when he was stationed on Tarsus 4 and witnessed the massacre. Since it happened 20 years before the events of this episode, this would have indicated that Kirk is somewhat older than what was later established in The Deadly Years. It should be noted, however, that while Academy cadets enter as midshipmen, they graduate as ensigns.
Mm-hmm. The phaser overload emergency is the only known instance of when a double red alert is declared, as you very correctly noticed. Mm-hmm. However, in James Blisher's book adaptation of the episode Court Martial, he has Kirk ordering a red alert and then a double red alert during the ion storm, as opposed to the yellow alert and red alerts that were depicted on screen. Red alert and double red alert were used in the final draft of that episode's script, but were changed on set before filming. So there you go. So it might have been we would never have had a yellow alert if they'd stuck with that. It might have just been red alert and double red.
That's silly, isn't it? Yellow, and then red makes more sense to me. Like a traffic light. This and the Mark of Gideon are the only TOS depictions of the observation deck.
Which is a hell of a thing. I mean, that's a lot of money to build a set. To only use it twice like that. This is the first of a long line of Star Trek productions which feature scenes, quotes or references to the great bard, William Shakespeare. In this case, the title comes from Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2, and scenes from Hamlet and Macbeth are acted out. And there is a paraphrase as well of Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2. Caesar, beware the Ides of March. I'm treating this like an audition now.
Right, I've already cast you in the play. Star Trek Sundays. I really love all the different Shakespeare references in Star Trek. I think it's an important nod to the actors who have that specific ability to perform Shakespeare. Not every actor can do it, and I think it is nice to sometimes remind the audience that although they're playing Star Trek characters, they're not just Star Trek actors. They are actually capable of so much more.
Absolutely. And on top of that, of course, Shakespeare was all about the human condition, which of course is exactly what Star Trek's about as well. So the parallels are absolutely,
I do love that episode of Next Generation where Picard has to do Shakespeare on the bridge. He's like... He's obviously acting like he's uncomfortable about it, but you know that Patrick Stewart loved it.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And there's that one where he's teaching Data to play Prospero.
Yes. Oh. All of Data's
Need a rewatch.
little teachable moments. I love them. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. My bad.
That's digression.
In Enterprise, in A Mirror Darkly Part 2, the future of biographical information displayed for Hoshi Sato states that she was one of the 4,000 people killed by Kodos on the Tarsus colony. It should be noted, however, that creator Mike Sussman never intended for the data to be readable on screen, and on his website he says to take that biographical information with a grain of salt.
In all other episodes, the crew drinks non-alcoholic beverages aboard ship from styrofoam cups. In this episode, Riley drinks his milk from a glass, presumably because its shattering would be more dramatically effective.
Yeah, it wouldn't be quite the same, would it, if it was a styrofoam cup just like falling off? No, not quite the same. The dreamlike song sung by Uhura is Beyond Antares, and Nichelle Nichols got to interact with the Vulcan harp again in Ilan of Troyes. But in that it's because on my computer it's showing up as an incorrectly spelt word, so it's got that red zigzag underneath it, so I couldn't tell if it was a Y or a V. But that scene was cut, and in The Changeling, she sings a portion of that song again without an instrument before Nomad interrupts her.
In the 2004 Battlestar Galactica, Ronald D. Moore named the prison barge Astral Queen after the ship commanded in this episode by John Daly. He was a fan.
This episode was among the lowest in ratings during the first season, mainly due to the fact that it was too talky, with no action scenes and didn't feature any monster or sci-fi gimmick. Hence, it was decided not to give it a repeat broadcast.
And James Doohan and George Takei did not appear in this episode.
Yeah. I noticed that, actually. It was odd.
Well, I noticed George didn't. James Doohan, it was only afterwards when I was looking up trivia that, he wasn't in it, was he? Less noticeable. Now, I've been told off in the chat by Captain Quinn for mentioning the name of the Scottish play. For saying
that only counts
if
you're in a theatre, surely.
Well, do you know where the history of that superstition comes from?
No.
If a theatre if a theatre was struggling, like they'd put on a production and they weren't selling many tickets, they'd quite often change it to Macbeth because Macbeth was the most popular Shakespeare around. So if a theatre suddenly changed their production to Macbeth, it meant that the play they were doing was doing really badly. So just mentioning Macbeth was like, oh, the play's doing badly. That's where the superstition comes from.
That's hilarious.
There we go.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'm going to be playing Shakespeare himself next year as well on stage.
No way. Whereabouts?
It's initially going to be in Oxfordshire, but that's for almost like a private performance for the Rotary Club. But we'll be taking it to Edinburgh next year, or the plan is to take it to Edinburgh, obviously COVID allowing and what have you. But yes, it's going to be The Amorous Adventures of Shakespeare.
Oh my God, Stu! You have to let me come and watch.
Well, we'll have to work something out. Hello, Ben Kerno. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. And Rick's not seen this episode. Yes, do watch it after the stream. It's well worth it.
I do watch it.
Yeah. Like I say, one of my favourites.
Amazing.
One of my faves. Excellent. And Aries X 096, hello, good to see you here as well. Gosh, so many people joining in the chat today. Now, shall we start talking about our tech this week?
Yes, let's do a deep dive on the technology of Starfleet Communicators. A communicator was a communications device used by many species for person-to-person and inter-ship communications. A communicator could be either an intercom or a handheld personal receiver that could be used for person-to-ship communications. Communicators usually transmitted on subspace frequencies.
Employing originally a flip-top design, a member of Starfleet spoke directly into the device to give commands and speak with other personnel. Once it was flipped open, it locked onto the originating ship's communication system. The communicator also had a game control. And in the JJ-verse alternate reality, Starfleet communicators could also receive text messages.
It's nice to know, isn't it, that hundreds of years in the future, flip phones will still be cool.
Yes. I'm certain that there'll be Apple by then.
Like in some cases...
Sponsor us, Apple.
If Apple wants to sponsor us and give me a free phone, I'll do it because my phone is broken.
iMac Pro. Think bigger.
I just bought myself a new Mac, but if they want to give me one of those too, I'll sell this one. But yes, anyway, in some cases, communicators serve purposes beyond basic communication. By 2152, for instance, the power signature of a Starfleet communicator could be amplified by an intense carrier wave, which would make the communicator detectable by sensors. For another example, when accessing a computer, the communicator of the person at the terminal logged in the user information, thereby making it possible to trace back who accessed the computer. Communicators were also often used to allow transporter locks for beaming, thus acting as homing transponders. When used in tandem, two communicators could produce a sonic disruption by using sound beams to create a sympathetic vibration in an unstable object, such as a cliff face. Usage of a communicator while receiving and outputting a signal could be hidden from sensors by triaxulating the signal. Communicators could be jammed by a security screen, the like of which was employed at the Tantalus colony. When the screen was deactivated, the communer signal was enabled.
Do you like the fact that you're getting the techno babble?
I am the technobabble today. Imagine it. What is going on with my background today? What?
It's disco. It's Disco Enterprise.
Sorry if anybody has epilepsy.
So, by the 24th century, these communication devices were integrated into the standard uniform badges and became known as com badges. Users no longer had to speak directly into the communicator, but rather could activate and deactivate them with the touch of a finger. And what it doesn't mention is that was trialled originally by Section 31 in the 23rd century. We now know.
Amazing.
You
And
may
then
or may not have gotten there yet.
And then by the 32nd century, the technology for the communicator had been miniaturized to the point where it could be included with other functions in the TRICOM badge. Activation and deactivation of the communicator was by hand gestures.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. How far have you gotten with Discovery?
I haven't watched any more of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I know.
that's
I know.
fun.
I've been binge watching Castle. I literally can't stop. It's so addictive. And I've never really been that much of a fan of like cop shows or like police procedural shows. But this is funny and it's emotional and it makes my heart sing. I just love it so much. It's weird for me because it's not sci-fi. And if I'm usually watching a series, it would be either horror or sci-fi, and it's neither. I'm just like, what's happened to me?
I'm like that on Call My Agent.
I've not seen that. What is it?
Oh, it's a series on Netflix. It's amazing. It's French. They are currently making a UK version of it, but I don't know why, because the French one is brilliant. Captain Quinn has asked, though, have you seen the Geordie on Castle yet, Keira?
The Geordie?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think so. Why? Is there someone on Castle from Newcastle?
Yeah, Captain Quinn linked a snippet on the Discord some time ago. Yes, there's a Geordie.
I'm useless at checking Discord as well. I'm so sorry. If anyone wants me to watch something or look at something, your best bet is to tweet me, because otherwise I won't see it.
There you go. And Random Gotham has said has been rewatching Voyager over the past 2 months.
Oh, of course, because for those of you in the US, Voyagers and other Star Treks are all getting removed from Netflix, aren't they? I mean, in the UK, we get to keep them, thank God. But yeah,
for now, we're hearing rumours. We're hearing rumours, and it might be we have to subscribe to Now TV in the future. I know.
How long subscription services can one person pay for? Like, it's absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely insane. Can't they just all make one big one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what Netflix would like, but yeah, that's not what's happening. Anywho, right, so one little note on communicators. So my first ever mobile phone was basically a car phone attached to a car battery that you would look around. But my first proper mobile phone, I had the first ever flip phone, which was called the StarTAC. because it was specifically inspired by the communicators from Star Trek. It was a Motorola StarTAC.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That was one of my early mobile phones. There we
I
go.
had a flip phone, but my first phone was a little tiny Sony Ericsson, and it was a little tiny pink one, and it had a spoiler on the back, like a race car. It was like the weirdest little phone ever, but that thing was like a cockroach. It just wouldn't die. I had this phone for years. It was amazing.
Right. And had a Motorola Razr.
Oh yeah, those were cool.
They're back. They're coming back. They're now smartphones. There we go. Captain Quinn has said, heard something on creators having an equal say to studios in reference to Spider-Man, but it works for Star Trek. That would be an interesting take, because usually a creator sells their work, lock stock, and it's up to the studio. Same with like writers, and usually sell your work and then you don't have control over it anymore. So that would be, don't know. Having directed stuff and been able to make changes kind of on the ground as you're filming has been really useful. So yeah, I don't think I would be keen on creators having too much control over their work. But I can see the other side of it. Anywho, controversial subjects all right. Well, you've created stuff as well, though, haven't you, Keira? So how would you feel about your creation being changed?
I wouldn't want them to change it.
What if it worked commercially better?
Well, I would like to be consulted on it. And if it worked better, then yeah. And if it made it shit, then no.
Interesting. I've never known a writer who isn't precious about their work.
But the only things I've ever created personally have been my short films and the podcasts that you guested on a couple of times. But I can't imagine anyone wanting to change my short films, because who would want to use them anyway? Because they're really shit. And I can't imagine anyone wanting to change the podcast, because it was a community project, and you know the people who wrote it all worked really hard on it. So I don't.
Well, take your short films. Say if someone saw one of your short films and says, we want to buy the rights to this short film because we think as a concept it's absolutely brilliant. And then, but a condition is that basically they can change all the dialogue and they can change the premise and they can change everything. But they want to give you money for it.
You know what? If it was one of my short films, I'd be like, fuck it, because they were made purely for fun and entertainment during quarantine. And if someone's going to give me a decent amount of money, they can do whatever they want with it. Actually, if it was something like the podcast, I would be more hesitant to. I probably wouldn't agree. But if they just want to nick some ideas from one of my short films and I get paid for it, don't care. Just give me the money. I'm a poor student.
Interesting. Intriguing. Anyway, right, we've really digressed.
No, and I've run out of Ribena as well. Hang on.
Oh no! Well, we'd better dive on into the Divine Treasury, hadn't we, this week? And I gave a bit of a sneaky that it's something that might be coming up in the Star Trek Adventures game. Season 2 starts this Wednesday. You don't want to miss it. Get a little ad in there quickly. But this week's Divine Treasury is all about a new book. The Star Trek Adventures Shackleton Expanse Campaign Guide. I am so excited. I also have a PDF version of this that I have been going through very, very closely. You'll probably see I haven't opened this yet. It's still in its cellophane, but I have been seeing the contents otherwise, as I say. So the Shackleton Expanse is an area of space in well, it's an area of the galaxy in the Modiphius Star Trek Adventures role-play game. When I can open this, rip it off. There we go. And it's full of adventures and new races and all sorts of interesting things for the crew of the RPG to do. So I'm not going to be going into this in too much detail because we don't want any of the crew to get spoiler alerts. But I'm going to flick through very quickly, see if we can find some nice pictures, because we always get lovely, lovely pictures in these things. No, it's all writing. There we go. There's a nice picture there. Oh my goodness, there's very little in the way of pictures, but I am very, very excited. I'm going to be amending a lot of the premises of the Shackleton Expanse adventures to fit this particular crew, but yeah, very, very exciting. Oh, Ben Kerno as well, you've got it. Excellent. Very, very excited to get stuck into this. We won't be diving straight into it in season 2 because we have to get to where I want us to be for that, but we have that to look forward to. So there we go. That's this week's Divine Treasury, because that arrived during the week. So yeah.
You know what? I remember when the release of this book was in our news, and now it's in the Divine Treasury. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, time's gone on. I think I was excited about it back then, wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
Yes. I'm still excited about it.
Speaking of news, shall we?
Yes.
A bit more show and tell.
Yes.
I do believe that Stu has some excellent new posters to show you all from Prodigy.
I do. You say when you want me to. I've prepared a screen with them all on. You tell me when you want them up.
Yeah, whack them up. So we've got 6 new posters to show you from Star Trek Prodigy, which I believe are the different characters. Is that right? So we've got Jankum, Pog, Zero, Murph and Roktak, Gwyn, Janeway, Dahl and Kiart poster showing USS Protostar. They look cool. I absolutely love that. All those characters, and they quite different poses and stuff to the original artwork they released when they announced Prodigy. So this is quite cool to see them in some new sort of poses and scenery and stuff. I love those. Very, very cool. A new advert also dropped on the 30th of September, which was just 4 days ago. So I haven't seen that yet. So as soon as this stream is over, I'm going to go and watch that. And it will begin streaming on Paramount Plus on the 28th of October. That's just 25 days away. So if someone wants to give me their Paramount Plus login, I'll be very grateful. But yes, very nice posters there. I love those.
Well, we don't know when it's going to come into the UK yet, do we? Or where?
Oh,
it is coming to Sky, isn't it?
So that Paramount Plus, that's just the US, is it?
That's the US streaming channel, yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I think we heard a while back it was coming to Sky, which is why it's going to require an LTV subscription. But yeah,
Rubbish.
We've not heard for definite. But that new advert is really good. Because the first one, I'll be honest, bothered me a little bit, where you saw Gwyn tied up, because obviously she's being kidnapped. So yeah, but it does seem I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it too darkly. But that new advert does look really, really good. Well worth seeing. Okay, so on to other news. William Shatner's Tech War, for those who remember the novels, that's being developed as an animated series aimed at adults currently. It has already been a live-action TV series back in the 90s. It was shit. There were comic books. There's a video game. Yeah. I'm not excited about it. I'll be honest. I mean, it's more relevant now with AI and what have you, I suppose, than it was in the 90s. But
more about William Shatner. He's apparently heading into space. Reports are saying that the Shat will be on the second Blue Origin, which is owned by Jeff Bezos, on the 12th of October. And if this is true, then he will be the oldest person ever to go into space at the age of 90. There must be some health and safety risks there. That much G-force.
Well, Blue Origin it doesn't go into space as we think about going into space. It goes into basically just leaves the atmosphere just about. I don't know.
I've honestly never wished for something to crash and kill people before. And I'm not wishing that does happen. But if it does happen, and Jeff Bezos and William Shatner are taken out in one fell swoop, I'm not going to be upset.
Okay. Well, I'm just hoping they drop him off.
Drop him off where?
He just as they're at the apex, just like, right, off you go.
Shove him out.
You only paid for a one-way trip.
It's like equivalent of airlocking someone, just shove him off out of the rocket.
There you go, Kirk. You only paid for a one-way trip. Oh dear, we do love the Shat on this show. Right, well, I think that's on that subject. Let's move swiftly on and talk about next time and next week.
Oh, I'm excited for next week.
Because we have come to... so am I. One of my favourite subjects in all of Star Trek. We're going to be doing a deep dive on time travel.
I can't wait.
Timey-wimey.
Yes. We'll also be discussing the animated series episode Yesteryear.
Yay, because it ties in, because it's a time travel episode. Yay. We will, of course, be paying another visit to the Divine Treasury. Now, I know you've been ever so mega busy. Any updates from Kira's cosplay next week?
No. If you see, you could see the state of my office and the amount of stuff I have yet to unpack, you would understand why I have not been able to actually craft anything yet. But
I don't think any of us need to see anything to understand. But it's best to ask the question.
Oh dear. And then, as always, we shall be finishing off with the latest news from the Trekverse.
We will. And Ben Kerno says, weren't we having the time travel episode last week?
What did he say?
Won't we be having the time travel episode last week?
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, it's already been done.
Yeah. That's it. Anyway, in the meantime, we will see you next week. Or is it next week? Or is it the week after? We will find out. We will see you then. In the meantime, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Take care for now. Bye.